What's a good metaphor for life without trying? Maybe a carrot. A purple carrot. Alright, so I'm trying to throw a grenade to get those people. I can't really, like, not hit the house, so eventually I'm just like, fuck it. I throw the grenade into the house and it bounces right back and kills me. So, not my finest hour, guys. Not my finest hour. I did not want to be judged on that moment alone, so please don't make an animated gif of it and subtitle it Tycho's Failures and spread it all around the internet and make it the most popular Men of War gif in the world. That would be a shame, because you can make some awesome Men of War little animation things, probably. Some sort of crazy stuff happening, like some guy driving through a house and then the house explodes. I don't know. I don't really know. That guy had the same idea as me, obviously, tossed a grenade, but he was just faster, so, dead people. All my people are dead. So I briefly had that point on the right. My allies got the point on the left. It looks like we briefly decapped the point in the middle too, so these guys are really on the back foot. I saw a tiger very briefly just over there, so for the record, they have a ton of artillery and a couple of heavy tanks at the very least, a Jagdpanzer and a Tiger. So this is pretty much a how not to play Men of War if you are me sort of thing. Just loading up on the coolest stuff you can buy. You know, feels kind of cool, but come on, where's the fun in just buying a bunch of artillery and giant tanks? Come on, try and be more stuff. Like, look at this. My mortar has been alive so long, he's been so unaggressive that it ran out of mortar shells. So, I buy a supply truck, and I click the examine button, the little eyeball button, the hotkey is X, and I send it over to my mortar. And when he gets there, I'm gonna rearm my mortar. So that's just the level of detail of this game, guys. You can even siphon gas from things if you need more gas in your tank. Talk about level of detail. Speaking of level of detail, I was trying to micro that hurt submachine gunner infantry away so he could heal. That didn't work. I'm trying to micro this submachine gunner infantry away to heal. That does work, although it turns out he wasn't at the front lines anyway. So this truck shows up to reinforce the mortar. It gives him the mortar shells, in the process driving over the sandbag slightly, and bada bing, the mortar is back up and running with another 99 shells. So that's a very arbitrary number of shells to load into the ammo truck, but I am obviously not in charge of loading the ammo truck, and so they can load it with however many shells they want. Apparently they can only fit 99. Very odd. And I buy another T-34, and I buy a submachine gun squad, and so once again I am planning on making an assault in force. And so here's a heavy machine gun inside this bush. I wanted to get a good view of it because heavy machine guns are very rare in the wild. You don't very see them, and it sounds pretty cool, especially the Russian heavy machine gun, but I couldn't really see it. The bush was covering it up, so you know, you win some, you lose some. I would not make a good rare bird photographer because I was unable to get a good shot of it, but that's okay. So I laced some sandbags to try and protect the guy, but sandbags are a little glitchy when the ground has been blown up around them because they're laid at like the original height, sort of, and like the crater's edges are raised. So anyways, the results you can see for yourself. Not the most useful sandbags in the world, although I admit it does look much cooler like that. It looks like it's an actual fortification, but not too much use. And look, there's another Panzerwerfer, so that's 3 Panzerwerfers, 1 or 2 of those SIG artillery pieces, the little light things over on the right, and a couple giant tanks at the very least. So yeah. And that beep you heard was someone messaging me on Steam. I can't remember who it was. Yeah, so splitting my submachine gun people into 2 groups, not a bad idea, never a bad idea. The more sides you come at them from, the more... It's another beep. The more sides you come at them from, the more things they have to fire at, the more ways that people have to be facing. This works especially well for tank warfare when you want to hit their side and their back, even worse. But, you know, you negate some of their cover if you can come in from the side and all that stuff, flanking, blah blah blah, military tactics, Sun Tzu, Napoleon, yada 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 yada, liberty, equality, fraternity. This is my rifle, there are many like it, but this is mine. An army of one. So that's my inspirational speech. And I'm content with having my T-34 rather far back. That SIG-33 just wiped out a bunch of my men, and by a bunch I mean 2, so it's good that they weren't super clumped up, but yeah, that's just annoying artillery. I'm pretty happy using my tank as a fire base. That's what I find tanks to be very useful for. They just make wonderful fire bases for supporting your infantry assault, just because they have huge firepower and huge armor, and I really think that's... Oh, there goes the Jagdpanzer wiping out another one of my guys. So yeah, big tank, big gun, big trouble. That's the way tanks were often used in real life. Obviously the Germans did the whole blitzkrieg sort of thing, lightning warfare with their tanks, doing all sorts of damage. I'm getting a dude out of this truck to recrew the mortar. I realize one of the men in the mortar is actually still alive, just unconscious. He'll wake up soon. So I only need one man out of the truck to crew the mortar. I tell the truck to move away because I'm afraid if it takes another direct hit it'll explode because it's carrying more ammo than I think was ever used in any one match. But it wasn't driving away, apparently, because the guy in the co-driver seat passenger seat wouldn't switch to the driver's seat, so I got him out, got him back in, and now the truck is up and running, and so it gets out of there because I don't want it blowing up. And I also have to repair the mortar. Never be afraid to repair your mortar. Why would you be? I don't know, but I need some sort of advice to give to make it look like I'm smart. What was I saying before? Oh yeah, I mean the Germans did the whole lightning warfare thing with tanks rolling over the enemy and stuff, but a lot of the times in real life tanks were used as infantry support or as sort of a combined arms sort of thing. It wasn't all giant tank battles like Kursk or anything. Tanks were used in conjunction with men to take and hold positions and stuff like that. So that's what I find them super useful for in Metamor, and that's what I really enjoy using them for in Metamor, because you get a lot of synergy going and there's a lot more skill involved in coordinating all the different aspects of your assault versus just tank versus tank. Although not to say that tank versus tank is not fun, and a lot of the most useful stuff you can do with a tank is to really attack the enemy tank in some dynamic way, because if you know me, you know I'm a big proponent of AT guns. I think AT guns are just the best thing ever invented, and if I could have sex with an AT gun I probably could. And in fact there are holes on an AT gun, so really I'll get back to you on that. But you know, an AT gun, for all its virtues, is really not fast. It's the opposite of fast. It's like a manatee, assuming a manatee is slow. And they certainly look like they're slow creatures, don't they? I think manatees are slow, so we're going to decide they're slow, and they are slow like an AT gun is slow. I just won't... I keep getting mortared by these SIG 133s, the giant artillery pieces, but really not paying off too well, because I'm spread out enough that it's not wiping out huge amounts of thing. And this guy keeps speaking in numbers. He's some sort of robot, and so I'm asking him what is up with that. I'll let this conversation continue, and I'll shut up, and by shut up I mean I'll just keep prattling on and on and on, but I'm going to say things of even less consequence than normal so that you don't feel like you have to listen to me and read the text at the same time, which would probably be pretty difficult. But when is this conversation going to end? When's he going to reply? Maybe he's not going to reply. Anyways, I bought an assault troop squad. Half of them, or one of them, just died. Okay, Wilson's nickname is 18, which is why he's talking in numbers. He's talking about the 152s. And anyways, I bought an assault infantry squad because they have armor. They are badasses, and they can come in and kill everything. And I'll talk more about them later. I think they're all probably going to die. This guy's got a flamethrower. That's what Russian assault infantry do. But we'll go back to the point about AT guns. They're slow like manatees, and what tanks are useful for is dynamically taking the fight to the enemy tanks. Tanks are extremely mobile when you think about it, except maybe the Jagdpanzer or other gigantic heavy tanks, which is maybe why I don't like them as much. Tanks are extremely mobile and have no problem repositioning, especially the turret gives them just an amazing ability to target things in all sorts of directions at once, because they can rotate the turret and rotate their body, and they have a rather, a respectable top speed, so tanks are very good for dynamically attacking the opponent's tanks. And of course, I like being dynamic, don't I? Long ago, my sniper got killed by artillery fire, so I bought an officer. I figure I should point that out. And it looks like GGs are being exchanged. This goes on for another few minutes. My assault infantry are able to push forward. If you ever have a tough thing to break through, assault infantry, always worth trying at least once. They cost, like, 3 times as much as a similarly sized submachine gun infantry squad, but